Right, all right. What's up, guys? Round two, as usual, had to restart things, kind of crashed. But all right, kind of, yeah. I think whenever new technology, whenever you learn something new, you just got to be patient. Um, all right, so I was in the process of introducing myself as usual and just kind of going over certain things. I'll do it again. So this is Dr. Mohammed Ashori, MD, board certified family medicine physician, and I'm currently in Madrid, still in Madrid, got one more week left in Madrid. Things are going well with my surgery, by the way. I'm getting some good range of motion back. I had 2 sessions of rock climbing on this hand, but he doesn't want me to go too extensive because he did a cut all the way from here through the fascia, all the way down through here and down to here. And you can barely make out the scar, but he didn't want me to do much so that it doesn't tear open in here. He doesn't want the median nerve coming through. I got some nerve issues here. Like when I tap, it's really sensitive. It shoots like electrical pain, but he thinks it's because he manipulated the nerve. And so there's some damage to the, what is it called? The myelin sheath. And so he thinks a lot of that should come back, but it's been 6 weeks. So maybe it's going to take months for it to get better. All right. One more week in Madrid, and then I go to Long Beach. I got to figure out what I'm going to do, how to renovate that place, fix it so that we can stay there. And what I was saying on this call before everything kind of crashed is if you guys want to reach me, email me drmo@digitalnomadphysician.com, or you can always go check out my website. Now, I always say there's a lot of great information on the website, especially for anybody who wants to do something a little bit different, something more unique in medicine. And when I say unique or different, I just mean that if you are currently in a position, rheumatologist, gynecologist, surgeon, a family medicine doctor, internist, pediatrician, and you're just not happy, things are just not going the way they should be, you're just not happy with the status quo, it's perfectly fine to look for something different and do something else. In fact, you might think of yourself as kind of like go with the flow and risk averse. But if you are risk averse, the highest risk you can have in anything is to stick around when things aren't going well. And I think listening to that sixth sense of yours, listening to that part of you is really, really critical. But you don't have to know what you got to do. I don't think that's necessary. But exploring and experimenting and talking to people, that is critical. That is important. And I think as physicians, because we have such a regimented career, we think that we should just do what we were told to do. But I think that's wrong. There are a lot of physicians out there right now who are, you might hear that everybody's burnt out and everybody's leaving medicine. That's not true. All the nurses are not leaving en masse. All the physicians are not leaving en masse. Everybody's sticking around. They're changing positions, they're changing jobs. Just as many nurses are graduating as nurses that are leaving, just as many physicians, if many more physicians are coming on than people who are leaving. We just hit 8 billion people in the world, right? That was a counter that went around recently. And so I think it's helpful to keep that in mind. And there's nothing wrong with doing medicine for the sake of medicine, doing medicine for the sake of a job, for an income, not for the sake of medicine, doing medicine because it's simple, it's straightforward. You clock in, you clock out, you get a paycheck, you leave, you're good, right? That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing. You might not feel fulfilled and your patients may not be getting healthier. Things are not improving the way they should. But overall, I think it's okay. I was just listening to Dr. Peter Attia's podcast, and he does this Ask Me Anything, or it's like a Ask Me Anything thing that he does every month or so. And I thought it was fascinating because he's talking about something that he's writing about called Health 3.0. Health 3.0, as opposed to Health 1.0, which was a little bit about some doctor says this is how things should be, we think it's correct, and we do it. And then Health 2.0, which is sort of like evidence-based, research-based, this has been proven to do this, therefore we should do this. And then he's talking about Health 3.0, which from my understanding is sort of like, well, we have some evidence, and this should guide us in the right direction, but we don't have any evidence to say that this is how it should be, and therefore the physician should make a decision as to what should happen, and the goal should be now to steer away from trying to prevent these acute things. We should steer away from treating these acute things and instead focus on prevention. And I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was interesting, and I was thinking about it. I was reflecting on it, and I realized that in a way we are doing health, what is medicine 3.0 or health 3.0? I don't know what he called it, medicine 3.0. In a way, many of us are doing that. The difference is that in a standard clinic, in a standard practice, in a standard hospital insurance model, there is no money for preventing disease. You can't pay somebody money to say, I'm going to prevent this disease 20 years from now. Well, 20 years from now, we're going to have a different CEO, and I don't know, you can't prove that to me, right? Many things that we can't prove, we're not going to give you a payout. And so for those reasons, I think it's harder. It's a harder proposition. And for Dr. Attia to be so on the forefront is fascinating and is incredible. But for you, as a physician who's in medicine, and you're trying to figure out, where is it? What should I do? What should I figure out? I was trying to think back to all the people who have messaged me, emailed me over these past few months, and I'm trying to kind of like think to what it is that is the common theme. And I feel like the common theme is that I'm just not fulfilled by what I do. So I would try to pose a question to that person, and I say, do you have a particular lifestyle that you want to live? Yes. Does medicine make that income for you? Yes. Is there a way that you could do medicine just enough that it could fulfill that income? Yes. Does that then free up enough time for you to then focus and research what else you want to do? Because if that's the case, that is the most logical next step. Now, somebody might say, nope, there's no option for me to work part-time, which is really odd, because anybody who's ever said that to me, when we have dove in together, has not been the case. There's always an opportunity to do something part-time. It may not be where they want to do it. I totally understand, but there is always that opportunity. But some people have kids and significant others and people that they're supporting, family, adult parents and stuff like that. So I get it. Like, they're like, no, I can't just quit and like not, I have to pay thousands of dollars a month for health insurance and all this other workplace stuff. And it's just not worth it to me. So I need to be here. I need to continue doing this. There's not a lot I can do. There's not a lot I can say. I mean, that is the definition of feeling stuck. And I can certainly understand how difficult that can be. But I will say that if you are between the age of 30 to about 50, between the age of 30 to 50, this is the time where you can probably take a lot of risks in medicine. And what I mean by risks, I'm talking about just doing something that is not traditional, that is not standard. And if you do that, I think what can happen is you might find something really unique and interesting, whether it is consulting, whether it is working for an insurance company, whether it's working for a pharmaceutical company as a physician, whether it's working for a financial industry, whether it is going into something completely different, construction, real estate, business, investing, foreign exchange. I don't know, like it's so many other things. Health coaching is kind of what I'm going into, right? The risk that you might fall back on the risk is you're going to fall back on family medicine, traditionally working in a clinic and just being okay with that. And maybe that's how it should be. Maybe that's how it should be. So I was thinking to the people who had messaged me, and there are many different people. I think there are those who are burnt out and they're considering leaving medicine and just doing something very different. To those, I would say the content that's out there already is so straightforward. So you can do it. You can go start your own virtual telemedicine practice, and you can do a cash-based, fee-for-service, straightforward telemedicine practice. How does that evolve? How do you do the marketing for it? Everything. Word of mouth, talking to different clinics, talking to people, posting on Reddit, posting on Quora, posting on Facebook, running Facebook ads, running Google ads, right? Just to get the traction. And once you get the traction, remember, it picks up. And then you might find that there is a way for you to maybe write some good content online that's going to serve as advertisement, right? So just kind of, snowballs. It snowballs, and it ends up working out without you having to put too much energy into it. Other people I've talked to, let me see. Oh, okay. This person yeah, it's funny. I remember this person messaged me. He's like, yeah, I'd love to talk to you about the stuff I have after, I have a bunch of options after residency that I wanted to discuss. And I'm like, what options? So he's like, oh, I'd rather talk to him about it in person. So not a lot I can do for that person. I have other physicians who are reaching out to me who are, yeah, this is really cool. Like, they have some great business ideas and they just kind of want to develop it. And how do they get it to how do they get investors? How do they get enough traction for this kind of business to take off? And I think that's fascinating. People who are just literally struggling with social stuff. They don't know, getting divorced, kids, and medicine, and they don't know, like, I want to have the flexibility to move and travel. And yeah, I get that. And I think those are kind of the hard parts. And medicine is complicated because it takes over your entire life as a career. And being able to make decisions, being able to talk to people who know what else is out there can be really fascinating. Like for me, the work I do on Just Answer is a great income. It's easy. It's not medicine, but it is clinical, right? I get to scratch that clinical itch. For me to be able to be on Reddit and answer medical questions, to be on Quora and answer medical questions, for me to be able to be on these random telemedicine websites like Lafia. And when I go back to the States, I'm on MD Live or other telemedicine websites. I think these are just good opportunities for everyone. And you can piece it together. There's nothing wrong with piecing it together. But you can also use your income from medicine to kind of carve out an escape plan. And I think sometimes that means getting into commercial real estate. Maybe that means investing in some business. Maybe that means just investing in securities, stocks, bonds, etc. Regular old single-family homes, rental income businesses. They say that there's no more single-family homes in the U.S. that are profitable. Yeah, I have a hard time believing that. I think there aren't a lot of single-family homes that are turnkey that you can buy and turn into rental income properties. But there's a lot of shitty homes that if you buy them and you're willing to live in them or work on them or hire somebody and put in some effort, you could probably turn it into a decent rental income property. And remember, over the years, rent's going to go up, and so people are going to pay more. But yeah, that is a little bit of having to do it yourself and figure it out on your own. I think that can be a bit scary and daunting. So I'll take a few more minutes just to see if anybody comes on, and then afterwards I'll probably just record another video that I've been meaning to make. But basically, guys, don't despair. Don't despair. No matter how bad your situation is in medicine, there's always something out there that you can do. And for those of you who reach out to me with state medical board investigations, yeah, I hear you. And I think it is really brutal. It's really hard. And I wish I had more time. I wish I had the free time to help you guys. Or I know many of you are not comfortable coming on to these Free Friday Q&As to talk about that stuff. And I think that is difficult. It's heartbreaking. And being public about it can be really difficult. But do check out the resources. And I think there are some really, really great resources. Definitely go on my website. I talked a lot about my own medical board investigation, from choosing lawyers to what you do with your lawyers, or how state medical boards work. All of that is powerful. Some of you have trouble with getting board certified again with the ABFM, or ABMS, I should say, American Board of Medical Specialties. Remember, there is National Physician NBPAS, National Board of Physicians and Surgeons. You could always board certify with them. And I think doing it now is better than waiting until that time comes. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. And you guys can email me, drmo@digitalnomadphysician.com. I hope that's helpful, guys. Again, some of these Free Friday Q&As that I'm going to do, I suspect over the next year, maybe there's not going to be anybody on it. And I think if you are somebody who is a content creator, if you're somebody who's doing stuff and you put something like this out and people don't come, don't despair. I don't think that's a reason to stop doing it. I think that's a reason to keep doing it, so that it eventually picks up, that it eventually becomes something bigger. Don't expect what you first start out to blossom, to bloom, to become something. I think you start something, you do something, you experiment, you make some other changes, and something becomes of it. I think the main reason for me to do this Free Friday Q&A, so that I don't feel bad if I'm charging somebody $800 an hour for consultations. And so I can make my money on the side, and if somebody really, really needs it, they will come on here. And I think this is a good way for many of us to offer our services in such ways. And again, it's tougher to do that if you're employed by somebody. And that is maybe why I push a little bit towards the self-employment model in medicine, but I know that's not possible for everybody. So definitely I have empathy for that. Anyway, guys, that's it. Take care, and see you next week, Friday.